Hi everyone, this is Yeho Studios. In this series, I'll show you how to model a toothpick dispenser from scratch. Today, we'll focus on the modeling process, and in upcoming videos, we'll dive into texturing and using geometry nodes to scatter toothpicks in creative ways. Whether you're new to Blender or a seasoned user, this series is right for you. Without further ado, let's get started. So to start off, we want our model to be up to scale, right? So in order to do this, I would like to use this cube as a reference to that. And from my research, what I can see is that a normal toothpick is about, a normal toothpick holder is about 8 by 5 centimeters. And this cube right now is 2 meters by 2 meters, which is a lot. So you have to reduce it. So to do that, 8 centimeters will be the height, so 8 cm here, that's the height. And then in both of these, we type 5 centimeters and enter. So this is going to be the actual size of our toothpick holder, which is really quite small, but it's in real scale. Alright, so let's get to it. So all I have to do is press GZ, bring it up here, make sure it's just on the line there. Yes, making sure that it's correct. It is. Then you can call this reference. Okay, add a new collection, name it, let's say toothpick holder, enter. Come here, go to viewport display and set it to wireframe. So now, even though we are in solid mode, we can still view this as wireframe, which is nice. Okay, so now make sure our collection is active, and let's start modeling our toothpick jar then. So go to Shift A, add mesh, go to cylinder. Beautiful. You see right now it's way too big compared to our size because its depth is 2 meters, radius is 1 meter. So you can reduce the radius to 5 centimeters, which is about the size of our reference. Then the depth maybe 8 cm for a start. Okay, then go into wireframe. This is a good start. Just press S, hold shift and press Z to scale on our axis by the Z axis, and just let it fit in our reference there. Press G and Z and bring it up. Okay, you go to edit mode, bring it down up. Select this, holding left mouse button, and then you drag across this place. Then bring it down on the Z axis by pressing G then Z, and just bring it to about the average height of the toothpick jar, which should be about here. Holding Control, now let's click to confirm. We add the loop cut here, left click, drag it down. I think somewhere here, about here should be okay. We select the bottom here, press S and scale it in. So somewhere here. Want to go to solid mode, we'll press or we'll go to face mode over here. Select this face, press X and delete faces. We'll go back to object mode. Right click and shade auto smooth. So right now you can double click and name this to be a holder for now. What you're going to work on next is the actual cover or the cap, should I say. So with that, we'll press Shift A, go to mesh, and let's add a circle for this. See, the circle is way huge in comparison to a toothpick holder. So we'll scale that down, scale it way down. Press G, then Z, bring it up. Right there is fine. So go to edit mode, make sure you're on vertices mode. Then we extrude all of this by pressing E, then Z, then bringing them up to about, I think this height is okay. Then we can extrude once more. Holding shift, I want to be careful that about this height should be okay. Then we scale it in, pressing S, not too far, then bring it down, pressing G, then Z. Alright. So now what you want to do is continue extruding, then scaling about this far. Go to our front view by pressing 1, press G, then Z, then grab up. Move it a bit like this, and this is fine. Extrude and scale. Press 1, then move up. Then repeat that process. And I think one more time. Then for now you can press F to fill that face. Okay, going back to object mode. Let's add the loop cut right here. So we'll go to 1, that is our front view. Hold Ctrl R, click here. Let's click to confirm again. And we scale it up a bit by pressing S, just so that it forms a curve. You don't want to go too overboard or too little. You just want to scale enough. If you want to be extra careful or scale by small increments, you can press S then hold Shift as you are dragging your mouse. And I think about here should be fine, and that should be great. So this can be a jar cap, but ours is a bit more detailed. So when I will shade auto smooth and work on the remaining parts. So for that, go back to edit mode. Make sure you put your loop cut here. Make sure face select mode is on. Then we select, I want to be sure of the faces we select. I think this amount of faces, no, we just go a bit high. This amount of faces, and shift select this. I want to be sure I'm doing the right thing. Yes, remember these are center lines, so we want to make sure that it's symmetrical. So select these faces. A quick way to do that is also by clicking this, shift clicking this, holding Control and clicking this, so that it automatically selects this for you. We press Shift D with this selection, and then we right click, we press P, and then we select selection. So now this is a separate object altogether. Beautiful. So now you can work on this. But before that, you want to scale this up just a bit. So press S, hold shift, and scale it so that you can just see it. I think this much is fine. Want to view it more, you can add a solidify modifier to it. Yeah. So that will help us with our editing. I think that should be fine. So with that selected, we go to edit mode. Make sure that this triangle kind of shape is selected so you can edit the shape. Press 7, then we start working on it. So first of all, what I want to do is straighten these edges here. First of all, I like to select all of this. Sorry, want to work with half of the mesh, what the other part of the mesh is also being worked on in real time. This helps speed our workflow. So to do that, make sure that wireframe is selected. Box select all of these meshes to the left. We'll press X, delete vertices. Then we'll just add a new modifier and make sure we add a mirror modifier. Make sure that clipping is selected on it or is enabled. Go to object mode. If you go to object mode, then you see this weird artifact where it's like there's some sort of cut in between. Just drag your mirror modifier, holding this handle, then drag it up on top of the solidify, and let it vanish or it goes away. Hope you understand. So go to our top view, go to edit mode and continue editing. So now the power of this mirror modifier is that once I edit this part is also being edited, and that's cool. So we select these vertices, press E, Y, go up or go forward, bring them up to around here, scale them. I think that far will be good. Still bring them a bit forward. It doesn't have to be exactly at the center. Just bring them forward a bit. Then that should be fine. Select these parts, move them here a bit. Right, then you can add loop cuts. Press Ctrl R. Then we'll scroll up or down to increase or decrease the number of cuts we want to add. We want to add a fair amount of cuts here, so I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 loop cuts for now will be okay. So we left click to confirm. Don't move anything, then left click again to confirm. Okay, so we got some loop cuts in there. So I want to shape them along the curve of our cap, should I say. So move it here. We select this edge, GZ, and bring it up a bit. Do the same for this. Okay, go to edit mode. I want to make sure that this whole edge is straight. It kind of curves more into that. So what I'll do is I'll go to wireframe, make sure that nothing is selected. and select all the vertices on that side. Make sure that everything is selected. Press SX then 0. And now move them a bit to the side here. Move them a bit. Okay, you see that some have gone in. Go to wireframe, press 2. That is to go to edge mode. Select this GUI and bring that forward. So you're able to see it. The same thing with these vectors. Yeah, I think this looks good so far. There's this kind of a cap now. But another major problem you're going to face is how to create a hole right here. And you can do that with what we call a boolean. Now a boolean is a way of calculating holes in meshes in Blender. It's a nice powerful tool that helps us cut holes in meshes such as this in Blender. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What you want to do is add a cube. So Shift A, go to cube. And in the size you want 8 centimeters big as for now. It is the size of a toothpick, but we are going to scale it down. So we'll scale it down the more. Press G then Z, then go up. So you are just positioning it where it's supposed to be. Right about, I think here should be okay. You're also going to do a similar thing to this by putting this on wireframe. So display as wire. Then next, you want to scale this so that it's just about, the edge here is just about touching this place. So let's S then X. Beautiful. Bring it up. Beautiful. Now this is how we apply our boolean. We select a cap, go to modifiers, add modifier, go to generate boolean, select, you put, make sure it's on difference, the object, to make sure we select a cube. Then you see that something happens there. If we hide a cap, you see that a hole is created for us here. To help us do it better, we'll add the solidify modifier to that. Make sure that it's set to positive. Yes. See that a nice hole has been created. So unhide our other cap again and continue some work on it. So go back to edit mode, and looking at this, I think we are about done for this part of the cap. But now I want us to do some rings around it. Alright, so in order to do that, a simple way you can do that is to add what we call a curve. So go to Shift A, curve, then circle. See, we also add a circle, but it's so huge. We'll adjust the radius here, making it just about as wide. Bring it up and put it just here. What we want to do is make them round, so we'll go to the curve data properties here, go under geometry, go to round, and enter maybe a very small value like 0.001, which is still too big. maybe add an extra 0. Okay, I think that's just about it. Maybe make the one a 3. I think this should be okay. Alright, so then we scale it. Scale it, it just touches the cap right about here. Maybe we'll make it even smaller. Make it 0.0002. Beautiful. So all we have to do is go to edit mode and then push these vertices so that you can see it. Nice. Okay. We want to increase our resolution to about 32. Now I want to create more rings, so we'll press Shift D, scale it, bring it up, scale it, just so that they must have some sort of even amount of spacing. Bring it up, duplicate by pressing Shift D and pressing S to scale it again, then bring it up. Okay. I think we'll just move this up a bit, holding Shift, go to edit mode, pull some of these ones down a bit. Then bring it back here. Alright, so then now what I want to do is that if you observe that whenever we open this kind of toothpick holders, a part of this goes with it. In order to do that, you have to kind of cut these rings and make some of them be parented or controlled to this. One way we can do that is by, and that's what I'm going to show you here. We select this curve here, shift select this curve, shift select this curve as well, right click, go down and convert all of them to mesh. So therefore when you press edit mode, you can see they are all vertices. Beautiful. Go back to object mode. So we're going to take our time doing this one by one. We start with this one here. Press 1, go to edit mode. Make sure you're in wireframe mode. Select this center which goes right through the Z. Go to solid mode. Then want to hit the keys Ctrl and plus to expand our selection. You do that again till the vertices meet near this edge. So do that. Okay, I think about here should be okay. Now what to do is we press P and selection. That makes it a different selection. So we see we have this. Want to press Ctrl Z to undo that, because when we went to wireframe, we selected the back. So all you can do is press C, Shift, then make sure that we're in wireframe and select all of that. Then right click. We do the same thing we did as earlier. P selection, go back, and get a part of it. Now we'll just do the same to these curves. So instead of going to wireframe, press 1, select the middle loop by pressing Alt and select, hit Ctrl and plus, expand it till we get to around that section. And in case you go overboard like this, you can also press Ctrl minus to reduce your selection. I think around there should be fine. So press P, then selection. Then we'll do the same to this as well. Press 1, scroll into, make sure I'm selecting the right loop, Alt, select that loop. Ctrl plus to select those, P, selection, go back to object mode. And that looks beautiful. So now we have all of these here, which are completely separate from them all. Now before we go on, what you want to do is that you want to edit them so they are right along this edge here, where the toothpick, that cap is, or where the boolean is giving us that line. So select, for example, this first curve, go to edit mode, select this, double tap G on the keyboard, then slide it in along its normal axis. You can press S, then X, 0, enter, then scale it up. So it should just be about there. And do the same to these two as well. So select this, S, X, 0, enter, then move this here, scale it. Now for this, because this is lower than this, what you do is we all select this, press E, then just about drag it to around here. Do the same thing. And because this is overlapping this, what you have to do is select this, go to edit mode, select this curve, press double tap G, then move it here, about here. Now in case you want to stop this weird opening issue when you scroll in, what you can do is go to view, clip start, then reduce the number by adding some extra zeros, and then we can view our model more closely. See, because we're working on a small scale object, the other objects are kind of disappearing as you revolve around. I think we'll just manage with that. Scale Y, scale X, sorry, 0, move it. And we can just move this to around, maybe just keep it here, and then bring this. I think they can be like this for now, and we'll do the same exact thing to these sides. So select them, bring them here, Alt select this, bring it, scale it up. Alt select this, double tap G, bring it here, scale it, just move it in place. Same thing here. You see, so now in this case, when you double tap G, you are being constrained here because you can't move further. In order to do that, you hold the Alt key whilst dragging, and then you can move further than that. That's fine. And we just do the same thing. Move them here, go back. I think that should be fine. So just make some minor edits. Same thing, Alt, select this. The same thing here. Beautiful. Okay, so there we go. We successfully separated them. Now I want us to take notice of something. Whenever we rotate this, maybe RX, you see where it's rotated from? This is unnatural. Okay, but I want to fix that. So one way you are going to fix that is that we are going to go to edit mode, select maybe this vertex here, do Shift S, press Shift S, then make sure that we go to cursor to selected. So therefore the 3D cursor is now at that center vertex. Go back to object mode, make sure that this cap is selected, right click, go to set origin, origin to 3D cursor. Now once you do that, you see that the rotation is now fixed. Alright, but now these are not moving with it. So what you do is that you select this, shift select this, shift select this as well, and shift select this. You are making sure that this is the last selection. You can tell that by seeing the orange outline around the object. Hold Ctrl, hit P, and click Object Keep Transform. Now whether these are selected or not, all we have to do is select this, rotate it on the S axis, then you see that they all move with it. Alright, so this is just one step. So you fix that. This is looking beautiful. Now in case you see, whenever we zoom out, at some point you can see that these curves are open. To do that, what you can do is select all of them holding Shift as you are selecting. Okay, because we converted them to curves, the end caps option is not available. So what we do is that we select them, go to edit mode, make sure you Alt select the last curve like this, press F to fill them, and do the same to all the other curves on the other side. So we'll do it for this one, Alt select, press F to fill, F to fill, F to fill, then Alt select, F to fill. Good. Okay, so I think we are just about done. So now that this is working nicely, you can go ahead and save your project if not. Now what you want to do is work on the inner parts where the toothpicks have little holes where they come out of. So to do that, in order to view it, you have to rotate this maybe and make it open. Another thing you can do is you can right click this, select hierarchy and press H to hide it. Now you're going to work on that part. So I have to add a new cylinder, mesh cylinder. Scale this down to about here. Scale Z. Then you're just putting it in the correct dimensions. Go to edit mode, select this face, bring it down. I think about this much should be okay. So now I want to make sure that we select only these faces. So you go to edit mode, select these faces, such as this. Want to press Ctrl I to invert the selection. Press X, then you choose faces. So that deletes every other was selected. Alright, go to object mode. Now we start working on this. Go back to edit mode, make sure you're in vertices mode. We alt select this edge, extrude them on the y-axis towards this direction, nicely around here. Bring them up like this. Beautiful. Just kind of make some sort of slanted edge over there. And after that, you press 3 to go into side view. Go to wireframe. Then we just press E and put it all the way here. Somewhere here should be good. And that should be fine. Okay. So all you can do here is alt select this edge. Shift alt select this edge. Press Ctrl B. And see they're not beveling as you want to. So make sure that you're in S select mode and try it again. So alt select this edge. Alt select this edge as well. Sorry, shift alt select this edge. So select this edge. Shift alt select this edge. Ctrl and B. Bevel them nicely. So holding shift, I can drag my mouse to adjust the profile, that is the width rather. Scroll my mouse about once or twice. Think one should be okay. And then we have let's click to confirm to your desired width. And I think we have something good there. We can also shade auto smooth. And that looks very fine and beautiful. Go to edit mode. Now before you add the boolean, I would like to add some more geometry across this place. So hit Ctrl R, add the loop cut there. There may be some loop cuts in between each of these. So Ctrl R, left click, confirm. So maybe one or two here. Okay, so then what you do next is this. We shift A, add a new cylinder. Make sure that we reduce or we scale them down. Scale them all the way down. Grab Shift Z. And we just want to position them at where we want them to be. Take in mind that we are creating about 6 holes here. Okay. So we scale Shift Z. Think the width of a hole this big should be okay. Okay, so then I'll go to 7, Shift D, Y, bring it here. Shift select, make sure that these both are selected. Shift D, X, somewhere here. Shift D, X. I think I'll just select these both and bring them up here. Beautiful. Okay, so what you can do is that we select all of these, right click, shade auto smooth, make sure that this is selected and hit Ctrl J so that they all become one mesh. So you can move all of them at once. What you can also do is rotate them like this on the X axis. Think about here should be enough. Then we also add a boolean to this. So we select this, go to modifiers, add modifier, generate, go to the boolean modifier over here, select our objects. So now we can hide them, and there we have our host. Nice and beautiful. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we got some holes there. Alright. Okay, so now with that being said, we can hide our other objects, and I think this looks quite good. But we are still not yet done. Now to just add some further details to this. So another thing we can do is can break this edge up, or selecting the edge, bring it up somewhere here. Yes, take it back more. We can rotate this even more. And what you can do is we'll create some sort of hinge. I'll just with a small cube. So go to add mesh cube, scale this down from here. Think about that big should be okay. Move it here. Scale X. Move it here. Grab Y. Then kind of just rotate it. Go to side view. Then rotate it on the X axis. Somewhere like this should be okay. Okay, so just move it here a bit, the GY. So one way of doing these changes is that you can go to edit mode, press 2, select this edge, double tap G, hold Alt, and then slide this up just to create that small hinge over there. Then you can even bring it down, holding shift, this should be fine. Press A to select everything, scale, then X. I think this should be fine this far. Go back to object mode, come here, this should be great. So you want to apply the scale by hitting Ctrl A, then select scale, go to add modifier, generate, then bevel, reduce the bevel amount, so you can go like 0.001, still too big, add another 0. I think this should be fine. I just add, sorry, increase the segments rather. Now I want to model this, mirror this exactly at the same position. So what we do is, while the empty plane axis, press Alt G to reset the location and just scale this down to about this size. Press F2 to rename it and call it a mirror. Then we'll select this, add a mirror modifier. Yes, mirror. Yes. Then instead of X, we'll select the mirror object, which is the empty record mirror. Select it, and then we have it. So you have two hinges that are completely symmetrical. And realize that once we use this method, once we move one, the other one automatically moves, and this is great. Okay, so we have hinges for that. And then when it comes to a toothpick, we have sort of some little hinges here that helps it kind of lock up whenever you close it. So one way we are going to do is we will use a separate object for that. And you can just make something simple. So add a cube, maybe mesh cube, bring it to where you want it to be, right about here. So just scale it about this big. Add the loop cut, sorry, go to edit mode, add the loop cut. Then select both of these edges, go in, bring it out, select this face as well, scale them on the S axis, bring them back, pressing GY, bring them back here as well. Just something simple and low poly. Add a loop cut here, shift select this, GY, shift select this, go back. Then something like this should be fine. But it's still too big, so scale Z, bring it down, control apply scale, shade auto smooth. That's about nothing. Just scale this. Something simple really. We'll add lookers on each side. Bring this out to give it kind of a curve. Okay, so you can just place this right there. Doesn't have to be something so obvious, but I think this is fine. Okay. So then we can press Alt R, but before that we want to parent these to this. So we select this, shift select this, hit Control P, then go to Object Keep Transform. Okay, then you can press Alt R and then move down with it as well. You see that there's some intersection, so we just move them here downwards, and that should be good. And to confirm, let's try moving them up. See that when we rotate it back then again, we see this offset, so we'll try and rotate it back, pressing X, putting it here, then try it again, Alt R. Now this is fine. So now, with that being said, to add that extra small hinge here to help open it, what you can do is we'll apply the solidify, but I see that we get this. So Control Z, you have to apply a mirror first, then apply a solidify. Go to edit mode. And everything's about the same, just that there's some extra geometry added, just a layer above the surfaces we can see. Okay, so to create that hinge as I was talking about, or that little nudge or handle, we press Ctrl R, left click, bring them down here, left click again, go to face select or select mode, press E, make sure they are brought out just a little, just a tad. So you can bring them out here, something like this. Go to one. We select these two vertices here, they look like abnormalities, so X vertices. Select these four vertices here and select fill, that is F. Do the same on this side. X vertices, select these vertices and F. So what we'll do is we just bring this out a bit, select these two, bring this out, select this, shift select this, bring it in, that is downwards, by pressing GY and drag it in the direction we want. Go back to object mode. And we turn our overlays off. I think we are about to have our toothpick jar done. That is for texturing. Turn overlays back on. We are going to try and rotate this back. Yeah, so about everything is okay. So what you just want to work on here is the bevel for the body. Then I think we are done for this part. Go to edit mode, select this, rather all select this, scale this up just a bit. Okay, fine. Press Ctrl B and just a little down here, should be about okay. Press or select this edge, bevel this as well. About two loop cuts in there, should be okay. Then left click, go to object mode, and I think we have a toothpick jar done. So with that being said, I think we are done modeling this then. If you've made it this far, I give you a thumbs up. Alright, so this is where we left off from our last part. This is where we left off from. We finished with this part. Good, so that we could create the holes here for the toothpaste to come out. Something decent. We'll be able to successfully parent parts of the rings to the cap. And I think with this said, we can go on to texturing. So with that said, go to our shading, and you can see right now it's really small because I have to scale. So just select this. But for our texturing, we like to do it in cycles. Alright, cycles is simply a render engine. In Blender we have two render engines which are most commonly used, which is Eevee and cycles. I'm not too sure about Workbench at the moment, but for this tutorial I think it is safe to be in cycles. So that's what we shall use. And now to view it, we'll go to render preview. We'll go back to our layout, go to render preview. Now you see that when we enter render preview, we get these blocks, which is basically our wire frames that we created. We can simply hide them by clicking the I button here, as well as for the reference, just so that you are able to see our model. Alright, so we go to wall shading, and because we want some lighting, we can just give it maybe a basic white, plain white. Yes, and that should be fine. Alright, okay, so then let's start texturing. If you have a graphics card, I suggest you put it on GPU compute for cycles. If not, put it on CPU. After that, I'd like to do some render settings just to my liking. User render settings. Apart from that, then I think they should be okay. Alright, so with that being said, we like to texture this part, the main body. So go to new, and you can call this the body. So what you are going to do, you are going to try and make this transparent, almost like some sort of plastic or glass. But you see that as we are going on, we may encounter an issue, and I'd like to show you the fix to that. So to do a simple glass material, what you can do is reduce our roughness to 0.1, and under this transmission, we increase our weight of the transmission to 1. Now you see we get some sort of transparency effect there. We get this thing which is more or less like behaving like glass. To see it properly, what you can do is you go back to solid mode, make sure you're in this collection, and just add a plane. You press Alt G on that plane, just so that it's under it, so that we can view our shading properly. Go back to render mode. Now you see we get a nice shadow. Now if you are observant, you see that we have some sort of caustics already happening there. It is a good sign. Alright, okay. This IOR value, index of refraction, the IOR for glass is about 1.5, which I think is correct in this case. So you can leave it there. Now the issue is, as we are going ahead and we put in our toothpicks later in this tutorial, you realize that they may look weird, and it's because of the way Blender is calculating our glass. Alright, right now they don't have any means of real, how would I call it, real thickness, should I say. So in order to fix that, what we'll do is we'll add a solidify modifier. So we'll go to add modifier, generate solidify, enable wireframe, then we'll just reduce the thickness. Hold your shift key. Let me enable screencast keys. Alright, hold your shift key, then drag your thickness just a tad, maybe 0.002 should work. If not, go back to rendered view. Then you see we get a lot. This is way better than what we had before. Obviously that it becomes more transparent. In case yours may not be as transparent as mine for whatever reason, you can reduce this alpha value, you see, which makes it even more transparent. It helps us just to push our transparency even further. So I think you can leave it somewhere around 0.6 or 0.5, and this is fine. So for now, this is what we'll do to this. Now, basically everything on the top is about going to have the same material. Alright. So for this, we can add a new material and just something basic. Maybe just go dark a bit. And you can just call this maybe the cover underscore top. This can be, then reduce our roughness a bit, perhaps 0.3. Maybe increase our specular value. And now what we want to do is I want to copy all of this material to all of whatever is at the top. And a quick and simple way of doing that in Blender is by this. Select all the objects at the top, whatever it be. Make sure they are all selected. Just go around, select them, and then make sure that this one is the last selected. You don't want to select a ground, so you can unselect that. Make sure that this is selected. Press Ctrl L and make sure you have link materials. Now when you go back to cycles, you see you have a problem. We won't do that. The reason why we had that is because the glass also had the same thing. So make sure that it's here. Ctrl L, link materials. Beautiful. We select this, shift select this, Ctrl L, link materials to as well. I think you are getting something realistic here. Computer is being a bit slow. For now, I think this is great. Since we are done with basically the modeling stage for now, what you can do is that you can now apply these modifiers. But before that, I want to separate all our Boolean objects in a separate collection. So I'm just going to hide them. In case you can't see them, make sure that this button turned over list is on rather. If it's off, just turn it back on. So select our cube and then this cylinder, then shift select this cylinder. Sorry, wonder what is selecting. We select this cylinder, shift select this. We'll press M on the keyboard, click new collection, and then we'll call this collection, you can call it Boolean, click create, they create this collection for us. OPC. So now that this has been created, we can hide them here. On checking this, go to this, and we'll click. For now, you can just apply a Boolean modifier. Click apply. Then we go to edit mode. Everything has been nicely applied here. Alright. Can do the same for this. There's no modifier on that. I think that'll be all. I want to try and fix this glitching problem. Okay, so then go back to our render mode. Okay, the textures are alright here, but I like to add more realism by using something we call surface imperfections, and we're going to use something we call image textures. And I'll teach you how to do that in just a second. But before that, I want to make sure that we have something called a good UV map. So you see, when you go to the UV editing workspace here, you are in layout, you go to the top here, just put your mouse over UV editing, click it, then see it brings us to edit mode automatically. If you press A, because we've not yet loaded in an image, there's nothing there. So I'd like to show you what this is about. Sorry, let me just hit numpad period. Okay, so what you are going to do is this. You are going to create some little surface imperfections to add some realism to this object. Right now, it is totally plain, which is not bad, but it can be better. Sorry, my computer is acting a bit choppy. So what you are going to do is, with this selected, you are going to plug in the image texture to roughness. So we'll go to Shift A, press Shift A, go to texture, then image texture. Alright. Then I want to open an image, go to my surface imperfections, then I'll choose one, open image. In case you don't have an image like this, a good site I recommend to you is cgbookcase.com. Let me open that up for you to see. cgbookcase.com. So you have it here. Go to browse textures. Then in their category section, you can just look for surface imperfections. And they have a wide range, maybe not that wide, but a number of surface imperfections you can download. I suggest that you choose any of them, choose this, then just click download. And save it wherever you want on your computer. Anyways, that's just for the meantime. So CG Bookcase is a good place where you can get your textures from. So we'll leave that aside. Now, what you are going to do is plug in our color value into our roughness value. If you look closely, you can see we have some sort of imperfections going there on the roughness. Now, I'll try and explain something to you in Blender. The reason why that is because it's taking the black and white values and trying to mask them across this surface, which is letting us be able to see these imperfections right here. You can try going to cycles, save my file first, go to cycles, see system is out of GPU memory. That means okay, so now I'm back. If you observe closely, we see that there are some surface imperfections going on there. You can control those values by using a color ramp to better view it. So So just drag a black slider as well as a white slider. You see when you cross over, see the surface imperfections you got. Makes it look a bit more realistic. Just push it here. You can flip the color ramp. So just something to create some sort of smudge. Reduce the white a little. Increase the black. And we can do the same thing for this material. But first of all, for this, I would like you to use the UV map. But before that, I'll first use Ctrl T. In case you use Ctrl T and this doesn't come up, you need to install the Node Wrangler add-on. So you go to Edit, Preferences, under Add-ons, search for Node Wrangler. See right here. If yours is disabled, make sure it's enabled. Click these three buttons and save preferences. So you can close it. So remember, select this, hit Ctrl T. It's already using the UV. I'd like to view the UV map for it. And I think the UV map for this is fine. Yes. And in case you may not know what a UV map is, the way I understand the UV map is that it's basically taking into account your geometry, that is the geometry of the mesh, and then kind of creating some sort of net shape. You understand net shape is like opening up the objects and displaying parts of the image to those corresponding faces or vertices, mostly faces. I hope you understand. If there's any question you have about this, you can ask me down in the comments, and I think I should be able to assist you. Anyways, back to what we're doing. Go back to shading. Now that we are done with this, we'll just apply similar ones to this, the cover here. So add an image texture. Insert the color to the roughness. Okay, we open up surface imperfections, and you can just choose a different one, maybe dust wipes. Hit Ctrl T. Then let's see how this looks. Right now it looks very shiny, which is unnatural. So what to do is we search for a color ramp, put it inside there, and then let's try flipping our color ramp. Okay, we can start from here. You see that this object gets some weird shading issues. That's all because of the UV map. But let's work with this object first, then we'll work on this object and make sure that everything has a proper UV map. So we select this. Let me toggle my window full screen. Just bring our black and white value. I want to check the UV editing for this. To unwrap it, you can go UV, unwrap, then Smart UV project. Then click on wrap, and then it automatically Blender tries to make a UV map out of the mesh. So we'll try and see what that looks like in material preview. And that is not bad, but since this is a small scale object, what you can do is try and increase the scale. So you can search for a value node, and you put the scale at maybe 1.5 and plug it into the scale. Then we'll just drag this slightly and see what works for us. Instead of, we can also decrease it, maybe a 0.1. Okay, see we get some sharp edges here. We are going to try and fix that. Go to UV editing. What you can do is alt select this loop, go to UV maxing. Okay, select everything with A, UV unwrap, then we can go angle based. I think that fixes it for us. So that makes it quite better. Let's go back to shading viewer. But now it looks a bit too rough. So what you can do is drag in our black values, drag in the white as well. You can also flip it. So you can increase the black values just a bit like this, decrease the white. Okay, because of these sharp edges we can increase them like this. Don't want it to be too shiny, I also don't want it to be too rough, so you just have to play with what you have here. Also try flipping it around to see what works for you. Okay, something like this should work. Okay, that looks fine. You can just go maybe 0.05 with this. I think that looks fine. Now to work on this part right here, since it's still being affected by the boolean, you don't have to apply it. What you can do is just add what we, as we did, a seam maybe around this edge. Go to UV maxing, select all, U unwrap, angle based. You see we get this saying that object has non-uniform scale. So that basically means because our scales are not set to 1. So in order to fix that, all you have to do is go Control A, apply scale. Then we'll try what we did again. So go to UV, unwrap, angle based. Go to shading. I think that fixes it for us. So you have something like this, which is way better than the stretching that we got. And I think I like this. I'm going to save my projects. You can also apply the same thing over here. Sorry. Go to edit mode. Just looking for something, maybe this edge under the loop here. Go to UV maxing, A, hit A, go to UV unwrap, angle based. Go back to object mode. Then beautiful, we get these lovely surface imperfections. As for these rings, since they are not really viewed that much, you don't need to add it to them. So I think for now, what we have here is okay for the meantime. So this will be our shading. Let me see if I can view it in cycles. Hopefully my computer won't crash. Okay, we allow for cycles to do its thing. And it doesn't look bad itself. Looks quite good. Because in real life, not everywhere is completely shiny, nor completely black. We can still do some minor edits. So with this, for example, you can still reduce the white. Sorry, rather increase the value of the black just a bit, decreasing this to just a bit, not too much, but if you can just adjust them to however you like them. Looking for something like this. This looking beautiful. Going to hit save. Because I want to view, to reduce whatever is happening with this, I'll view, get my view here. I want to view it from this side, from the camera, okay? So what I'll do is I'll rotate my camera the way I want it to be. And in case you get this, you're moving and you're kind of moving like this, what you can do is select this object and hit the numpad period. Making sure screencast keys is on. So you just drag around. If you're getting something like this, you can just hit period and Blender will focus on that object. So we want to view it from around this place. This is just for preview sake. Select our camera, hit Control Alt, then numpad 0. Then we get something like this. Right click not to move it. What you can do is change our resolution to maybe 2000 by 2000 pixels. Yes, and move the camera ever so slightly. You can hold the shift key to move it by small increments. Put off overlays. Make sure you save your project. Yeah, then make sure you click this button, render region, so that Blender only renders within the frame size and not anything outside that. Alright. This is just a preview. We are not going to work too much on lighting in this video. Just look at texturing. I think for the glass, I'm going to increase the alpha to 1, but that's your personal preferences. See here, we can see the smudges more perfectly. You can still work on them if you want. Drag them up. You can also affect the scale, go value, and plug this in. Maybe let's give it a 0.5. Beautiful. See, we get some thumbprints there. That looks awesome. Okay, so let's view this in render mode. Hopefully this should look, yeah, then I think I'm happy with this. We get some smudges here and there. To avoid this black thing, what you can do is bring our plane ever so slightly down. Yes, so that you still get some beautiful. To get more realistic lighting, what you can do is go to our world properties, go to color, click on environment texture, then just look for where your HDRIs are located. Going to look for where mine are. Select any of these. Maybe I'll go for a nice sky, for example. This is some sort of real world lighting. Because I'm not interested in the background here, what I can do is go to my render properties. Under film, I'll choose transparent, maybe transparent glass. Alright, so here it becomes transparent. So now it's only rendering the objects and the light passing through it. And you can see the surface imperfections here. I think maybe they're a bit too strong here. But if this is alright for you, you can go ahead and leave it. I'm going to just work on them a little. So I think I'll just soften them by pulling this apart from this. Same thing with this. Just a bit. Save, then view again. Because of the lighting, this may not look as black as you want, so you can decrease the value here all the way to 00. That's all the way down. And I think with this being said, I'm satisfied with this. That is to achieve photorealistic results like this. This looks fine. You're not working so much on lighting today or rendering, just adding textures, and this looks awesome. Alright, now to pick from where we left off, going back to our model here. Okay. Alright, it's looking quite great. Okay, so now if you realize every toothpick holder or dispenser, should I say, has some sort of label across it, and that's what you're going to try and do. Alright, so before you do that, we'll press shift then hold S and go cursor toward origin. Then I'm going to shift a mesh, add a cylinder. Then I'm going to just adjust these values to fit the required radius, just about the size of the order itself, then reduce the depth. Where I'm going, it doesn't have to be too tall, something around like this. And make sure that you choose the scarf fill type to nothing. Alright. So that there's no face on the top and on the bottom. Alright. To drag bring it up, we press G then Z, bring it up and place it somewhere here. That looks great. We'll press S holding shift then drag our mouse so that it just barely touches the surface of it. Shouldn't go inside, but just around here should be okay. Okay, then we go to front view, we go to edit mode, make sure that you have air select on, no rather face select. Now I want to select a couple of faces. So start from this middle two, then expand our selection. I'm doing it this way so that I make sure that they are even on each side. And I think we can add two more here and two more there. Let me see how that looks. Maybe it's too much. Reduce it by one. Alright, so you can do Control I to invert the selection. X then vertices. Now they are gone. We Control Z. Make sure on S select mode. Shift select these edges. Press S delete vertices. Then we'll just add this extra bit here. X faces rather. Okay, I think this should be fine. Go back to object mode. Okay, you see that we left some faces here for some reason. Just go to edit mode. Make sure your face selects by pressing 3 on the row above the top row keys. Shift select, press delete vertices. Go back to object mode. Yeah, I think this should be fine. Alright. Go to shading. Now first of all, I want to check the UV of it first. So you press A. You first want to apply the scale before doing anything. So go to object mode, hit Control A, and then go to scale. Alright. Go back to edit mode. Make sure that everything is selected. Hit U on the keyboard. With unwrap selected, click on Smart UV project and unwrap. And this gives us a nice UV to work with. Alright. So go back to shading, click new. You just name this as a label. And with this one, you're also going to use an image texture for the label. I have one, so that's what I open. The link to the image I'm using should be in the description where you can download it for free in case you want to use the same label. But you can really use any image you want. So I'll connect the color to the color, open my image, going down, looking for it. Okay, this is a PNG. Okay, you see that we got some weird things going here. That has to do with the UV. What you can do is rotate this around, scale it on the Y, just about have everything. Let's see if we can do this. Select this, D, Y. Okay, I think you have a good label here. So that looks awesome. So smooth. Alright, beautiful. So in case you want to add maybe a surface imperfection, we just do what we did to the rest of it. That is to the other parts. Add an image texture, plug the color into the roughness, load your surface imperfection you want. Just choose any really. I like to hit Ctrl T on this. Let's see if there's anything else to edit. It should look a bit rough, so I'll edit this with the color ramp. Okay, make it a bit more rough. Make it white. Increase this too as well. Yeah, make it white. Can't really see anything, so we like to play with the scale here. Add the value, connect it to the scale. Scale it ever so slightly. Okay, 0.5 seems to work fine. So you get some detail over there. And I think this is fine. Can decrease the scale even further. Yeah, and that should be just fine. Go to layouts, press 0 to enter camera view, and let's view it from rendered view. And this looks beautiful. That looks nice. Okay, so now what I want us to do is that we are going to separate the top half from the bottom just by collections. Okay, so go to wireframe, press 1, then just drag to select the top half around here. Shift select to deselect the camera. Make sure that it is selected. You don't want the empty to be selected. Make sure that it is selected. Press M, go to new collection, and then you can just name it cover. Click create. Then put it here. Then this, you can press F2 to rename it and just call this the label. We'll drag it under to our toothpick holder and put a cover, drag a cover to the under the toothpick holder. Then let's see, then this and this, we'll put it in a new collection under toothpick holder and we'll call this the body. And that's fine. Okay, so now here comes one of my favorite parts where we are going to generate the toothpicks. Alright, so before we do that, in order to see what you are doing, what you want to do is select our body, go under viewport display, And now in the color section, what you want to do is reduce the alpha so that you can kind of see, give us a C2 effect on what you are doing. Now the most fun part of it all, geo nodes. This is where you are going to generate a toothpicks. Alright. So then in order to do that, what you are going to do is you are going to select a surface from which you want to generate a toothpicks from. Okay. Go to mesh. So we are going to add mesh and want to select a circle. This is way too big. What you want to do is reduce the radius size somewhere around here just to cover the base. And for now, what you can do is disable the cover and hide the label. Maybe I should hide the holder for now. We'll go to edit mode, and instead of pressing F to fill, what you're going to do is hit Ctrl F and select Grid Fill. Alright. Which fills our face with even more faces. Okay, giving us some extra geometry or topology. Go back to object mode, and we can just select, maybe call it surface. This is where we are going to generate our toothpaste from. Now of course, you are going to instance some toothpicks. So you just want to model a simple toothpick, alright? Go to our toothpick holder, Shift A, go to add mesh, cylinder. I want to make sure that under our cylinder, our vertices are 6. We have 6 vertices. Reduce our radius to be ever so slim, like this, as well as the depth. That's how deep or tall it is. Somewhere around here should be okay for now. Press GZ, bring it up. You can see the size. Go to edit mode. Press S, Shift Z to scale it, make it more slim. Go to face select mode. Select the top face here. Press 1 and just want to bring it up. Maybe as this tall. You're also going to do Ctrl R. Add 2 loop cuts. Make sure they are 2, not 3. 2. Double click to select or to confirm our selection. Press S, then Z. Scale it up somewhere around here should be okay. Go to wireframe, select our vertices, select the top vertex as well as the bottom vertex. Press S, then Shift Z to scale them down a bit. You don't want to go all the way, but just a bit. Something like this. You can select the middle vertices like this, and we scale them in just ever so slightly. Not too much, but maybe ever so slightly. Go back to object mode, and there we have a normal toothpick. And this is our toothpick, alright. Now we want to move this origin point where it's rotating from. Instead of rotating from here, to be rotating here. This is important for how we are going to spread our toothpicks around. So this is what you are going to do. Going to go to edit mode, under wireframe, select the bottom vertices. Make sure that you're on vertex select mode. Select these vertices and you can press Shift S and do cursor toward origin or cursor to selected. Alright. In case yours is not, your 3D cursor is not where it's supposed to be. Since already there, I don't need to press this. But in case your 3D cursor is not at this point, you can either do one of these two. Alright. After doing that, go back to object mode, right click, go to set origin, then make sure you click origin to 3D cursor. So now when we rotate, see rotates from that point, and that is what we want. Okay, so we can press F2 to rename, then we'll just name it toothpick, put it there, and we can push this aside. Okay, so now it's time to generate some toothpicks, alright? We'll click this surface and go into geometry nodes. Kind of pin this for now. Trying to see where it is. Okay. Alright, these are our surfaces. And then I want you to click the new button. New. And now in this tutorial, I'll try my possible best to explain each node and what it's doing. Alright. So this on the left side we have the input node, which shows the input that is coming to the mesh, the outputs. So think of it as some sort of, maybe the way a processor works, you input data into it, then it brings out information. And that's kind of how geometry nodes work. Okay. As you go on further, I think you get the concept of what I'm saying. We want to add a node, okay, so that when we distribute our toothpicks across the surface, we can see it. Alright. So we'll do that by pressing Shift A, or you go to Add. We'll go to Shift A, we'll search for Distribute. I want to select Distribute Points on Faces, this one, and bring that here. And I see that our mesh is gone. But in real, actually, it's still there, just that you can't see the mesh because this has taken over. Alright. Now, we are going to select Poisson disk. These are two different distribution methods, okay? Poisson disk, the main settings we have are the density, that is how much instances we are creating, and the seed is more of like a random value, alright? Poisson disk has some extra features such as setting the minimum distance. This helps in avoiding things like collisions or overlapping. You have the density mass, that's the maximum density, and the density factor. This kind of like how to control the amount of instances you can see at a time. And this seed is more or less like a random value, okay? We are going to add another node and we'll name it, and it's called instance on points. We'll just put it here. So instance on points kind of is describing itself. It's going to place an instance wherever the points are, but right now you see that you can't see the points we are talking about because our surface has a very little area. Alright, we can't see it because Blender calculates this density mass in points per square inch. I believe that's the right term. You can confirm for me. Points per square inch, so that means it's going to generate about 10, I believe, over an inch. That is in real life or in actual measurements. But since we can't see anything, it's because our surface is really small. In order to view it, we can go to something like 10,000. Still can't see anything. Then just try and increase it the more. What you can do is hit Ctrl Shift and then select this. Then boom, we see our points. You see it's a lot. You can reduce it to maybe 100, maybe 1000. just ever so slightly. First, they are big because it's the default size for points in Blender, which is really huge. But since we don't want this, alright, what you're going to do is first make sure you pin this window, then drag in our toothpick object, the one we just modeled, drag it in here, and connect the geometry to the instance input. And then we see our toothpicks, alright? See that we see them. So in order to see more, all we need to do is click on density and just type in a huge value. Then we see more and more of these. So we can go for something like maybe this about 5,000. Let's go 10,000. So not much. Just be creative and don't be afraid to type in any amount that comes to your mind. 50,000. We'll go with 100,000. 150,000, just to generate some toothpaste for us to look at. Okay, all right, so these look awesome, all right, but for the sake of scale, I want us to hide our holder. Then we know how big our toothpicks are. You can see some of them are overlapping outside. That's because of the width of the actual surface. What we do is we'll go to edit mode, then we'll just press S. First of all, make sure that everything is selected by pressing E. Press S and scale it down slightly so that everything fits in the middle here. Go back to object mode. Okay, just scale it ever so slightly, just so that it fits there. Okay, see our toothpicks there. But right now you see that they are not as tall as we want them to be, because we need them to be at least almost to this point. All you can do is go to edit mode, go to wireframe, select the top vertices and just bring them up. Yes, just around here, and that's fine. You see, we see our toothpicks when we come to front view. It is unrealistic, so we'll select them. That is our surface. Press G, then Z, holding shift, then bring them up ever so slightly, just so that they touch the surface, and this is fine. Okay. Feel free to edit the mesh any way you want to. Just make sure that okay. Go back to object mode. Okay. So now what we've done is that we've generated points on which to tell us where each toothpick will be generated on. The instance on point helps us choose which object you want to instance, which is our toothpick here, a toothpick model. But still we want to have some more control over it, alright? So what you are going to do is you are going to play a little with the scale and maybe the rotation of each toothpick so that it looks a bit more natural. Right now they are all straight and have exactly the same height, which is unrealistic when you see a natural toothpick, alright, or a pack of toothpicks should I say. So in order to do that, what we'll do is in our geometry nodes window, we'll press Shift A, we'll search for random value. Okay, and before you connect this random value, you see that we have these X, Y, and Z values which control the scale of our objects. So on the X, it controls the scale, on the Y, and of course on the Z, which is up and down. Okay, If you connect a random value right now to each of the scale, see that it scales it in different ways. Some are thinner than each other, others are taller, and this doesn't look nice. Okay, but what we want to look for is a node called the combine XYZ. So just type combine. This comes up, you select it, place it in there, and make sure that it's on Z. Right now you can't see anything because you need to adjust these values, okay? So you just adjust these. Right now it's on float, so the reason why we can't see any of these is because the x and y are set to 0, which is unnatural, which means that it literally has no thickness at the moment. So all we need to do is select these two and set them to 1. Then we see our toothpicks. All we now need to do is adjust these levels. What this random value is doing is that it's helping us distribute random heights, okay, on the z axis to each individual instance being created. Okay, hope you understand. And with this, it has different data types. We don't know how quickly burst through. Float is for like numbers with decimals, as you can see. Integer is for like whole values, numbers without decimals. Vector is more of like how this is presented. Hope you understand. It's a set of numbers which can indicate a value of something, the same way that a scale is calculated here in Blender. And of course, you have Boolean, which is basically a true or false value. Hope you understand. But I want to leave it on floats. This minimum means the minimum height a toothpick should be and the maximum height a toothpick should be. That's what this min and max is. This seed is just a random value for the generation. Hope you understand. Okay, so with the min, just want to increase the minimum so that they are all uneven. To make sure my surface is selected, they are all uneven. Increase the minimum. Okay, so I think something of this sort is okay for me. I want to bring this here. Okay, so now the same thing we did for this, we also want to do for the rotation. Okay, so we are going to add, yes, another combine XYZ. So we'll just search for that. And since you're connecting to the rotation, make sure that the x and y values are on 0. Everything here is on 0. Connect it to the rotation. Alright. You also want to add for another random value. Then first of all, connect it to the x. And see that once you connect it, everything goes haywire. See that they are come out of their natural positions, even though this indicates that everything is working fine. It's working fine. Go to side view, put off overlays. You can add the original toothpick. All we need to do to correct this is just adjust the maximum value, maybe something like this, as well as the minimum. Okay, so you see they kind of have randomness in them. We'll duplicate this and connect it to the y value as well. And I think this is fine. This is beautiful. And this is realistic too. Just want to cross check that none of them is going out of. If any of them seem to be going out like this one, what you can do is just adjust the values of your min and max rotations. That is for both x and y. Doesn't have to go so overboard, but just enough so that they don't look all the same. And now another node you are going to add is the set material node. Now what this node helps us to do is it helps us to set a material to the whole instances as a whole, which is good for us. Right now there's no material here, but we shall add one soon. Now before we go on to texturing our toothpicks, what I want us to do is have a way of easily controlling the density and some important tools here within a node tree via the modifier stack. Okay, so what you are going to do is something like the density, for example, density max. We are going to plug this into this small gray circle here. You see, and this exposes here, so now you can control it from here. See, and it still works fine. And you're going to do the same for some of the important nodes here. So we'll go, for example, the toothpick. You want to control that. In case you want to rename it, maybe you don't like identity mask, maybe you can say number of tooth, number of toothpicks, for example. See, that helps us to identify the value associated with it, and that's what we use in naming our outside values. I hope you understand. Alright, so let's looking for something else. What else will we need? So we can rename this to object instance. In case you don't know how I brought this up, all you need to do is press N to both open and close this panel to bring this up. Alright, you can name the node tree to be maybe pix generator. So I names a node tree for us. Okay, we also want to control the random values of both the x and y. So maybe, for example, the minimum scale, for example, you can just name it as minimum height, and we'll select this, name it as maximum height, and let's do the same to some of these ones as well. So that's for this would be minimum x rotation. You can also say maximum x rotation. Go to minimum value. This would be minimum y rotation. Yes. Then we go to maximum while rotation, and you can save it. So we have some of the important things here, as well as you want to control the material which you want to use. So drag that to this here, yes, and then we can select a material from here. So you can just name this as, okay, we can actually leave it as material. If you want to rename it, that's fine. You can also change how they look like, as a factor, angle, time scene, distance. Hope you understand. In case you added something by mistake, you can delete it from here or add a new item here, which can be an input, output, or a panel. Hope you understand. Okay, so now time to set the material of the toothpick. So now, since we've done that, we can now control the density from here. Can add a label. Want to save it first. Hide it from here for the moment. Just want to increase the amount of toothpicks we have. Control some of the rotations a bit. Remember to hold shift. Alright. Now in our lights, what I want us to do is to press Alt R, Alt G, hit our light, bring it up, GZ, and then our light panel, I want to turn it to an area light. Go to square and just increase the size. You can reduce it to be about 400 watts in power, maybe 300. Want to view this, and that looks beautiful. Okay, so now time to texture our toothpicks. So now what we can do is that we can select them, go to material and hit new. You can just rename it to be toothpick. You can change the color to be anything we want. But realize that when you change the color, nothing happens. That's because you are changing the color of the surface of it, which we can't see, but not for the toothpick. That's why we created the output for the material here. All you need to do is click here and select toothpick. Then we see it here. Alright, hope you understand. So now in our node tree, for now we can hide our holder. Just want to focus on our toothpicks. Okay, so we can add some roughness to the toothpicks. Maybe add a little bit of subsurface, because some toothpicks, if you observe, they allow some amount of light to go through them. And then you don't want all of them to have exactly the same color. So what you are going to do is you are going to add a color ramp. You are going to add a color ramp, add it to the base color. Search for an object info node and control it with random. So that this way, each of our toothpaste just gets a different color. So I want to control this. I'll put this as some sort of shade of brown. You can copy the hex, go to the black, then paste it here. All we need to do is maybe change the value of it just a tad. You can also try adding a noise texture, Control T. Let's make sure the factor is set to factor. Alright. If you notice closely, you can see that there are some color changes going on. Maybe I'll make this darker so that you can see. Right, I'll just put this here. Go to object vectors. Let's see what that gives us. Then generated is fine. Just to give us a different shade of toothpicks. Okay, alright. Now in case when we don't like this, what you can just simply go is with random colors like this. It's all up to you. This is just an option. This is also another option you can choose from. So I think I'll go with this. Alright. So I think we'll just go with a random value here. And then just change this ever so slightly. Bring this down. Put up our overlays. Want to save our project file. Then view it in rendered mode. Okay, you see you can't see our object because the light is way too powerful. So reduce it to maybe 10 watts. And all we need to do is make sure that the light is up. Just drag it up. Yeah, and those are some toothpicks we have. Looking very nice. Alright, so in this video, so far we've learned how to generate toothpicks and control them from the modifier stack. Now what you can do is hide the holder, the label, as well as the cover. Can keep the toothpick hidden. This looks fine. You can see that the toothpaste seem a little bit smaller than the actual container. So what you do is you go to solid mode, make sure you select our surface, go to edit mode, and just scale it up just a bit, not too much. You can also increase our maximum height as well as our minimum so that they are ever so close. Let's decrease it a bit. Nice. Alright, I want to use the power of the award lighting, maybe 2.05. Now you can see the lighting that we have with a natural light. Maybe we can just work a little bit on lighting now. Okay, see now when we rotate around, we have some of them going outside. So we just control them with the rotation. Alright. All you are going to do is also correct a camera view. So you want to view from the front. Make sure that this padlock is locked. Move it ever so slightly. What you can do is make sure that you set this to 3D cursor so that we rotate our camera around the 3D cursor. Press G then X and move this ever so slightly. To local Y. And hide this, then we see, look at it in rendered mode. Now let's work a little bit on lighting. So you also want to set a material for our ground. What you can do is go to shading, maybe something simple. Search for a checker texture. Something simple. And just increase the scale. Increase it. And just set the two values to some colors. And I just have an interesting background to work with. One thing I want us to do is also reduce the number of our toothpicks. They look a lot in there. So maybe 250,000. I'll just remove the 3 and replace it with a 2. And this is basically just up to your creativity. Concerning this, we can also add an image texture. And I'll select the principal BSDF. Hit Ctrl Shift T. Look for that same image. Yes. So that's okay, we get some lighting there. So you can increase the power of light here. You see that our ground looks pixelated because it's an image. So all you can do is just increase the scale, or you can simply just select everything. Shift select this, increase it so that we remove those pixelated looks. Okay, that looks beautiful. So we just try and light our scene, move our lights, point them at. So what you can do is go here, rotate on the y-axis, trace set a pivot point back to a medium point, rotate it on the y and just point it at a toothpick. Alright. You can also add a constraint so that no matter how much remove our lights, it still is focused on the jar, should I say. So you go to object constraints, make sure your light is selected, go to constraints, add a down track constraint, select the object to be this empty right here, which I believe is a mirror. If the right now is pointed somewhere else, we need to set negative Z, then that's fine. So you just want a light to be ever so slightly back, maybe to come here as well. Go back to rendered view. Alright, select this, increase our lights. You can also add a backlight, which is usually called a rim light, to it. I still feel like some of the toothpaste are coming out, so go to edit mode, scale this down. I think that should be okay. So now for the rim lights, go to area, reduce our size, GY, rotate it on the X 90 degrees, no rather negative 90 degrees. Go to our front view, bring it up. Want to make sure it's a spotlight. Reduce our spot size, increase our radius a bit, and you can increase this to maybe 80 watts and then see where you go from here. Go to rendered mode. This gives us some sort of a nice look. I can also bring my camera down, something like this. Rotate X. I'll reduce the viewport display value to size 0.1. Something like this. I'll R double X to rotate it, holding shift ever so slightly. Okay, something like this. Alright, then I think we have a nice toothpick model here. We've gone from modeling the body, modeling the cap and everything within it, to now all of this. All we have to do is add maybe an extra light, put it forward to the side here, make it a point lamp, make it 10 watts. This is just some simple 3 points lighting, just so that we are able to see the bring it up a bit. And there we see our toothpicks and everything on it. I believe this is nice, and this will be our end of the tutorial. If you made it this far, from the very beginning of modeling to even the toothpick creation, I give you a thumbs up. Hopefully you shall see me in my next tutorial. But wait, before we go, in case you are working on some project and maybe you want to use this model, I want to move everything at once. One thing you can do is you can add an empty. Let me make this really quick. So it's really huge. You go to add empty, reduce the radius, go to one, bring it up just about here. Now you can also still adjust the size here. What you can do is you can select the toothpick holder, right click, click on select objects. We don't want our lights to be here, so shift select them, drag them onto this collection. Try it again, select objects. Want to make sure that our new empty is the last selected. Remember, not the reference which we've hidden. Hit Ctrl P, object keep transform. So now once we select this, you're able to move everything. You can even rotate it from here. It is nice. So thank you for following this tutorial. If you made it this far, I give you a thumbs up, and hopefully you shall see me in my next tutorial. With that being said, this is a goodbye from me.